We all get just one shot at this life. It's this incredible, precious gift we've been given. But a really powerful text we're going to explore today asks a pretty tough question. Are we really making the most of it? Or are we just kind of going through the motions? Let's dive in and see what this is all about. All right, so the text we're diving into today, it doesn't mess around. It just holds up a mirror and asks this huge question right from the get-go. Before we get any answers, it wants us to just sit with this for a second. And this isn't about making you feel guilty, not at all. It's more about pausing for a moment and just appreciating the insane opportunity we have. So are we truly living, or are we kind of just existing? So for a lot of us, maybe most of us, the default setting is to chase all this stuff, right? The money, the status, the fame. It's that classic hamster wheel we're all so familiar with. And what's interesting is this text totally gets that. It acknowledges that this is the path most people end up on, but it immediately starts to poke at that idea. It plants this little seed of doubt, asking, hey, is this really all there is? Is this the best we can do? So, if that's not the whole story, then what is? What's the alternative? Well, this is where things get really cool. The text lays out this super simple but profound framework. It takes all our messy, complicated life choices and boils them down to just three fundamental ways of living. And just understanding these three paths, that's the first huge step to actually consciously choosing which one you want to walk. Okay, path number one. This is called the inferior way. And really, you can just think of this as life on autopilot. Just driven by impulse, always chasing the next quick fix, that next hit of pleasure. But the text is pretty clear this isn't just a harmless way to live. It's seen as a real waste of potential because that chase, it never, ever ends. You never actually get satisfied. And in the end, it's a path that doesn't really benefit anyone, not you and not the people around you. All right, now for path number two, the noble way. And this is a massive step up. This is all about living with intention, with respect for other people. The text brings in these two really beautiful ideas, atahita, which means working for your own benefit, and parahita, which means working for the benefit of others. Now here's the kicker, and this is so important. The text says these two things are not in conflict. The analogy of a healthy tree is perfect. The tree has to nourish itself, right? That's atahita. But why? So it can grow strong and bear fruit for everyone else. That's parahita. It's this amazing, symbiotic way of living. And that brings us to the third and final path, what the text calls the highest path, the liberated way. This one goes even deeper. It's not just about being a good, contributing member of society. It's about fundamentally understanding the nature of reality itself, kind of like learning the source code of the universe. It's a path of deep, penetrating insight. They call it vipassana, where the goal is to see things so clearly that you break free from that endless, exhausting cycle of wanting something, getting it, and then wanting something else. The ultimate goal here isn't just happiness, it's total freedom. Okay, so those last two paths, the noble and the liberated ways, they sound pretty amazing, don't they? So the obvious question is, why isn't everyone living like that? What's stopping us? Well, according to this text, the biggest roadblock isn't what you think. It's not your job, it's not your circumstances. The biggest obstacle is actually inside our own heads. It's our habits. And the author of the text we're looking at, Dr. Nandamala Bivamsa, puts it very bluntly. He says, bad habits and tendencies are incredibly difficult to abandon. And we're not talking about small stuff like biting your nails. We're talking about these deep, powerful, unconscious patterns that literally keep us stuck on that first path, that inferior way, even when a part of us knows there's a much better way to live. This is so fascinating. The text actually breaks down exactly how this happens, how a tiny little thing becomes this massive, ingrained habit. It's a three-step process. So first you've got the action. It's a single act. Let's say you complain about the weather just once. No big deal, but you keep doing it. That repeated action then becomes your character. Now you're not just a person who complained, you are a complainer. It's part of your identity. And if you let that keep going, it solidifies into your second nature. It's a completely unconscious driver. You just complain automatically, without even realizing you're doing it. See how that works? A single action morphs into a core part of who you think you are. So, does that mean we're doomed? Are we just puppets dancing on the strings of our old habits? I mean, it can definitely feel that way sometimes, can it? But here's the good news. The text says absolutely not. There is a way out. It gives us a key, a really powerful tool that can help us break those chains and start choosing a different way. And that master key is wisdom. Now, it's really important to get what this means. We're not talking about book smarts or having a high IQ. This kind of wisdom is the simple, powerful skill of just seeing reality as it is. Think of it like walking into a dark room and flipping on the light switch. Suddenly, you can see everything. Wisdom is that light. It's the ability to step back and just watch your own thoughts and habits without getting tangled up in them. That awareness, that honest look, that's what gives you the power to actually change. And really, it all boils down to this choice, right here. On one side, you have the unexamined life. It's messy, it's confusing. You're basically being dragged around by your habits and your desires. But on the other side, you have the examined life. This is where you're the one holding the lamp of wisdom. You're the one lighting up the path ahead. It's really the difference between being a pinball, bouncing around randomly, and being the one who's actually playing the game. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in real life? How do we do this? Well, the last part of the text gives us a really clear, practical way to start. The first step is actually pretty simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. It's all about taking that wisdom we were just talking about and putting it to work. We have to become like scientists of our own minds. We just have to watch what's going on in there, our thoughts, our actions, and try not to judge it. Just observe. And it takes some real courage to look in that inner mirror and admit, yeah, that's a negative pattern and it's holding me back. But that's where the change begins. And that brings us right back to where we started, with a question. But now it's different, isn't it? It's not just some big abstract idea anymore. We have a framework now, the 3 paths. We understand how habits can trap us. So the text leaves us with this one last very personal question to reflect on. If you look at your life right now with as much honesty as you can muster, which one of these paths are you walking on today? And that's a question only you can answer.